welcome back to my channel. If you are new here and like the video, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button for more content. Thank you for watching.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. In truth, this was supposed to be out months ago, but with my hiatus and all, this definitely got delayed. So yeah, I won't keep you long. There is a slight mention of blood as for triggers, but other than that, it is going to be her comfort, with the ending very fluffy. So let's get to the gay. The opportunity was close to zero. Everything was too tense. It was like everyone was walking on eggshells with each other. Koro didn't want to exceed his nagging to a certain point that would tear anyone down. Bokuto was attaching himself to their sides as if he were still in fight mode and someone could jump out of nowhere and hurt one of his loved ones. And Akashi, he seemed to blame himself for everything. If maybe he had been stronger, then Bokuto wouldn't have sought out Zato and everything would be okay. Even when he was awake, he hadn't remembered anything, so he didn't give much effort to stop the captain. This was enough. If anything, this was crumbling Kenma's sanity to a mere thread. He wanted it back to how they were before everything happened. Hey, Ken? The raven appeared from the corner with a rather strained expression. What's up? Did something happen? He asked while setting his game console down so that his full attention was on his lover. No, I just wanted to ask if you'd like to help me with lunch. He frowned, not at the question, but the same look on the setter's face. It never went away. He just wanted Keiji to feel okay again, and not carry around this guilt that ate him alive. He admits that he was shaken about everything, and in truth still is, but he couldn't let it take over his life. He'd hoped that his lovers thought the same, however, they did the complete opposite approach. Hey, Keiji? Kenma began cutting the onions that the setter had set aside for him. Yes, love? It wasn't your fault. Nothing of what happened was your fault. Kenma. Enough. We both know very well it was. He clenched onto the knife in his hand before setting it down with a loud clatter, turning towards the owl. I don't think you are seeing the picture, Akashi. He rose his voice slightly, his knuckles turning white from gripping the countertop. Akashi flinched upon hearing it, knowing Kenma only called him by Keiji, and went to show how oblivious he'd become, not being able to see the signs of agitation from the smaller. Please, explain to me how you think this is your fault. I will prove you wrong every time. Koro entered the kitchen and almost immediately noticed the tension in the room. Whoa, what's going on? Nothing. His lips thinned into a tight line, like he were refraining himself from saying anything more, and turned around to continue stirring the food in the pan when the blonde continued. No, this isn't nothing. You never answered my question. Enough, Kenma. Drop the subject. Akashi was like a glass of water filled to the top. One wrong move and that glass would spill. He was almost at his limit. He just needed to push him further. I'm not dropping it. In between their small bickering, Bokuto had also walked in, well, Linton, still recovering from his injuries, but was held back by Kuro, not wanting him to get caught up on whatever was about to go down. Why should I drop the subject when my questions are unanswered? Because? I don't want to talk about it, and you of all people should know why I'm at fault. Oh, that's rich coming from you. There was a deafening silence in the room, only the sizzling from the burning skillet, Akashi long since forgetting to stir it. Why don't we just take a moment to breathe? He laughed nervously, hating seeing his lovers arguing when it could be avoided. No, you were just as bad, Bo. You too, Koro. Whoa, what did I do? His sentence began as a harsh remark, yet Kenma noticed towards the end it was on a much more gentle note. That! He pointed at the rooster, emphasizing his point and his absurd behavior. That is exactly what I'm talking about. All three of you. He took in a shaky breath, turning around to compose himself before turning back to face his lovers. This guilt you feel is fake. It's the only thing you can use to replace how you really feel. You're afraid. Akashi looked down towards his feet before turning the stove off, realizing he wasn't going to get any cooking done. Kuro and Bokuto just tilted their heads in confusion. Afraid? What do you mean? Sato's attack was directed towards me. If anything, I'm the one at fault. I was weak. His outburst caught the boys off guard. Akashi had never risen his voice like this. Even if he did, it wasn't out of anger. Never anger. Even Kenma was baffled at what his next choice of words should be. I couldn't protect you. I was there and was useless in assuring your safety. Fuck, I even fell unconscious, leaving you all to fight Sato. I am weak. There. I answered your fucking question. Are you happy? 3 pairs of eyes seemed to drill holes through him, realizing Akashi had revealed more than he meant to in the spur of the moment. He suddenly felt vulnerable. Kashi. He grimaced at the sadness laced in his words. The blonde hated seeing his lover crumble when all of it could have been avoided if he didn't bottle everything up. Yet that's how Akashi always was. He would endlessly be the listener and never once complain or vent his own problems. That was until he broke. Refusing to speak anymore, Akashi bit his lip. He knew if he were to utter one more word, he wouldn't be able to control the break in his voice, and he would break down in front of them. Kuro gently rubbed his thumb over Akashi's knuckles, seeing his lips turn white from the pressure of his teeth. Hey, why don't we sit down? I'll make us some tea. We can talk more on this. The raven shook his head, not wanting to talk anymore. Backing away, he turned on his heel, wanting desperately to run away. I think I'm gonna go. Keiji, please don't go. Without even processing what he was doing, Kenma's hand reached out towards Akashi, as if some magnetic force would make him come back. He didn't mean for him to run away, he just wanted to talk, to clear the air. All 4 of them. Don't go. He repeated the ace's words from before, yet it barely came out as a whisper. Before he knew it, his legs moved on their own, running towards his lover like never before. Wait. His foot got caught on the kitchen floor mat, yanking him down to the ground. He yelped before feeling his head hit the counter loud enough to make all 3 of their heads turn. By the time he hit the ground, the room was deathly quiet, waiting for the setter to get back up. But he never did. Kenma? The captain was the first one able to speak up, and that was after several moments of unbearable silence. While he wasn't able to speak, Bokuto was the first to get to Kenma's side. He crouched down, shaking the smaller, a sharp gasp escaping his lips, feeling a warm liquid through the long strands of blonde hair. Blood. Akashi felt his teeth plunge back into his lip, this time successfully drawing blood. He ran to the bathroom, remembering where the first aid kit was last placed, seeing the 2 third-years assisting Kenma, who was still unconscious. He could tell both were on the verge of tears, trying their hardest to stay strong for the sake of their lover. Kuro relentlessly shook him, hoping by some miracle he would awaken soon, all after making sure he was gently placed on his back. Bokuto placed a jacket underneath Kenma's head in hopes of aiding both comfort and pressure to the wound. The raven stared in horror. This was his doing. If he hadn't been so ignorant, wanting to run away, maybe Kenma would be okay and not unconscious on their kitchen floor. The thought that he was at fault for this made a sob claw through his throat. He came clean about everything, how he was useless, and even now, he was on his knees, holding the blonde's hand, letting his skin become tainted with his tears. I'm sorry. I'll talk, I promise. Just please, wake up. Bokuto sniffled, rubbing the starter's back, not knowing what else to do but offer words of encouragement. It's okay. You will wake up soon. You don't get it. His outburst made Kuro's attention shift from Kenma to him. It left just as quickly when a groan escaped the smaller's lips and his breast scrunched in pain. Kenma! He hissed in pain, the noise seeming to multiply in tenfold, making it feel as if a sledgehammer was taken to his skull. Bokuto grimaced, seeing him in pain, and lowered his voice. How are you feeling? Realizing that his prank ended up not actually being a prank and happened at the worst time imaginable, he jolted up. Well, tried to, before he was forced back down by Bokuto. Not so fast. Don't push yourself. His strong hand pushed against his chest, holding him to the ground. But... no, Ko is right on this one. You might pass out again if you get up too fast. We still need to patch you up. He whined, part of him wanting to listen to their reasoning, given his throbbing headache and the sudden wind of nausea that appeared when he tried getting up, and the other part wants him to continue talking to Akashi. He glanced over, peering into those saddened, ocean blue eyes. Kenma always felt drawn to his loving gaze. The shade of blue always made him feel calm, safe, and tranquil, like he was content. However, he noticed a deeper meaning. The ocean bears a great sadness. While barely noticeable, some nights he would see it like how the moon draws in the tide. Even now, the great despair was all too much. It was as if his sadness was contagious. He felt his own tears slip past his barrier. Akashi sat there, never once leaving his gaze. He had to lean on the counter for support, his bottom lip raw with traces of blood left behind. Even his hands trembled at the slightest movement. Keiji. His voice was soft, vacant of any anger or frustration, squeezing his hand and bringing it up to his lips, placing a delicate kiss. I'm not mad. Just please talk to me. We can fix this. All of this. I've been meaning to say this to all of you, which may seem hypocritical at the moment, but I feel we have been lacking communication. The three of them tensed, even Kuro, who was patching up Kenma's wounds. What do you mean? Everything is so tense with us now. It was fine before him. We just went through something traumatic. The last thing I want to do is do something wrong to strain our relationship more. I like where we are, or where we were. What are you saying? A deeper sorrow etched into his eyes, listening to Kenma's words. Maybe he wanted to break up? No, he didn't want that. I'm saying we need to talk more, not bottle anything up. He pointed to the raven. Filter anything, or always be so tense. He referred to the two captains. I know you're all trying to make it better by sugarcoating it or protecting me from the unknown, but it's actually weighing us down. It does more harm than good. In between his words, they had moved over to the bed, Kenma now laying on Bokuto's chest, Kuro to the right running his fingers through the setter's hair while minding his injury, and Akashi to the left, popped up on Bokuto's thighs while never once letting go of Kenma's hand. You're right. I didn't mean for that to progress the way it did. He spent many moments opening and closing his mouth as if he were trying to say something, yet the words never came out. Kuro reached over, rubbing his thigh. I think I just got scared. Part of me preferred if you blamed everything on me, since Ko got hurt and even kidnapped. Then that whole argument broke out. It was like I didn't know what to do, since I couldn't even recall who you were. He squinted his eyes in frustration. The other part of me didn't want you to see me in that light. If you saw how useless I was to you, I thought you would leave, so I kept it to myself. Silence fell after. They never knew the Raven felt that way. Part of Kenma wondered if he never passed out like that and he ran away. Would they ever find out? We would never think that. You are so important to us, Keiji. Words can't even begin to describe what you mean to us. Please don't ever think those things about yourself again. You are perfect in our eyes. I mean, sure, we all have our flaws, but... He pulled Akashi's face close to his with both hands cupping his cheeks. He smirked at the faint blush dusting his cheeks, their noses touching each other, placing small kisses on his injured lips. Yours are my favorite. Aw, what about me? He pouted, squeezing the setter tighter in his arms. Well, you have some explaining to do, mister. Right. He laughed, attempting to shake the nervousness, but in reality, every time he closed his eyes, he would find himself back in that same spot where he was on death's row, and Kuro practically opted to take his place by jumping in front of the gun. Parts of him realizes if Inoue hadn't jumped in front of both of them, Kuro wouldn't be here. I guess I'm scared too. I'm scared of being helpless to where it puts any of you in danger. I need to get stronger, so no one ever has to get hurt again. He leaned his head into Kuro's touch. But you are strong, plenty strong. In fact, you did what no one else could, and you were more brave than any of us. I think my words might have had something to do with what you feel. Bokuto's head lifted abruptly, jolting Kenma in his arms. No, that was in the spur of the moment. I know you never meant those words, and if anything, I mainly did it to anger you so you wouldn't follow me. That still never changed the words I said to you. Bokuto stayed silent this time, not knowing what to say. I do trust you, Ko. I trust you with my life, even. You are everything to me. Now they are excluding us this time. The Raven pouted, laying his head down on Bokuto and Kenma's legs. We did it first. Might as well let them have their moment. He chuckled, running his fingers through the Raven's hair, who leaned into a touch. Kenma glanced at Kuro, not wanting to let him get away without coming clean. Alright, fine. I guess mine is a little more simplistic. He shrugged his shoulders, leaning back on the headboard. During this whole ordeal, all of you got hurt, and I seem to be the only one unscathed. I read something online. And that's where you went wrong. He interrupted him, making the rooster arch his eyebrows. Well, the article told me that the victims of tragic events can be triggered with certain things. Well, that can be true. I'd hardly call us victims. Well, maybe Ko. He was kidnapped. That is true. He smiled and laughed as if it never actually happened. Next time, instead of relying on an article, I don't know, maybe talk to us about it? We could have talked it over and got over what may or may not be possible triggers. Kuro laughed, fidgeting with his fingers. Yeah, I'm realizing that's where communication is coming from. Seeing where they were only an hour ago, and now, they found the situation hilarious. Akashi began laughing, his body shaking with laughter. We're so stupid sometimes. The age chuckled, reaching past Kenma to ruffle Akashi's hair. Why do we do this? I think that's what makes it better. We aren't perfect, and we're still learning how to do this. He gestured to all of them. It had only been recently they became poly with their relationship, and it seemed to really push the limits with Sato. That's alright though, because we're learning together. They remained in a comfortable position, but startled, hearing a loud rumble coming from the owl's stomach. Sorry. I guess I did interrupt lunch. Akashi laughed, getting up from the bed. I can finish it real quick. Seeing the setter leave made Kenma pout, but he snuggled into Bokuto's touch, finding the warmth eased his headache, and before he knew it, he was drifting to sleep. Alright, so while the first half of the video was rather angsty, so to say, the ending was very fluffy. It had a very happy note at the end. I hope that you all guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you'd like to be kept up to date, check out any of my social medias. I hope that you all have a wonderful day or evening.